Pete Wilkins joining me here now to discuss this Connacht selection before they travel to Limerick tomorrow to Thomond Park for the Rainbow Cup game. Pete, how are you?
I'm well, thanks, William. Good to speak to
you. Interesting side you've selected. A very strong bench, which we'll talk about in a little while. A lot of players with a lot of caps on that bench. But give me your thoughts about the selection and what you need to do after what was a disappointing performance against Leinster last Saturday.
Yeah, it was disappointing, and I mean, regardless of that Leinster result, we wanted to go strong for this Munster game. We see it as obviously a terrific challenge as usual, but a really good opportunity for us. So it's not about rotation or rewarding guys who've stuck around patiently for the year. It's about picking what we think is the best possible team to win the game with the preparation we've had and with the type of game we want to play. So as you said, it is a strong bench, but at the same time, it's not sort of backloaded in that sense on purpose. It's actually that some of those guys in the starting lineup have genuinely put their hands up. Someone like Dominic Robertson-McCoy, he's been really impressive off the bench, allied with his training form, and we think he genuinely deserves the start. So the knock-on effect is, you have a Finlay Bealon coming off the bench, which obviously makes the bench look strong, and it is indeed with Finlay there. But Dom's there on merit, and I guess a lot of those selections or changes in the team have been based on that mindset.
You've also got a new captain in Tom Daly, who's been almost an ever-present for Connacht this season, and has been playing very well, has had come to the attention of Ireland. We were hearing during the week, so it's a big game for him, and he's been a stalwart all season, hasn't he?
He has been. No, Tom's been fantastic for us, and I mean, unbelievable really when you think of, not just the form, the good form that he's maintained across all of these back-to-back games, particularly, with a track record of maybe not having those long sequence of games, with his previous club. So not just the good form that he's shown consistently, but the physical and mental resilience just to keep backing up and keep himself fit and fresh. And, I don't think he's missed a training session for us that I can remember, and that includes our Monday sessions when we're turning around after a big game on the weekend where you might have to deload a few tired bodies or guys with bumps and bruises. So Tom's just kept fronting up and he's consistently delivered. And there's a real balance about him, I think, as a personality in terms of being very level-headed, and that's where the captaincy will suit him really well. But also in terms of how he plays the game, all the bits of his own game from his running game, be that gain line, be that distributing, his kicking game, which continues to develop, and obviously his defence as well. He's just got a terrific balance across those areas, and he's someone that you can genuinely rely on as a bloke and also as a player as well.
And he's got Sean O'Brien outside him, who's been doing very well, and they seem to have set up a really, really good partnership.
Yeah, they have. I think it's been terrific for Sean, obviously, with this run of opportunities that he's had at this stage of his career. Brilliant to have someone like Tom, for all those qualities I've just talked about, have someone like Tom alongside him. And, Sean's not the loudest character, but he communicates efficiently on the field and communicates well enough. So, with that balance alongside Tom's organisation skills, they've been a pretty good pairing, to be honest. And, again, similarly to Tom, to Sean's resilience to play these games back-to-back for us when we've been a little bit thin on the ground in that position of centre, has been a godsend for us, really. And, again, Sammy Arnold's back and fit, and, has been back integrated in training over the last few weeks, but Sean keeps that spot in the centre on merit. And, it's really important to emphasise that, I suppose. We're desperate to get Sammy in the team for the qualities that he brings, but equally, Sean gets to keep that 13 jersey, which I think is important for him as well.
Cian Prendergast going into the back row, and Abraham Papali'i with a start. Obviously, Jared Butler not available after the HIA at the Leinster match. It's interesting to see Prendergast there. You feel in Connacht that he can play second row and back row?
Yeah, he can. He's got that versatility. And he brings an abrasiveness, and I've said this before, but he brings a real commitment and abrasiveness to all of the contact areas of his game, which for someone of his inexperience, with respect, someone of his age, it really stands out. And he's got this really nice edge about him, even in training sessions, where he's not afraid to challenge the more established players. He's not afraid to take them on physically, but it doesn't ever cross that line into sort of disrespect or distraction. I think he's someone that goes full throttle at it and still is happy to live on the edge, but knows where the boundary is. So, his presence and his sort of growing confidence, I suppose, around that training realm has added to our sessions, and it's challenged some of those more established forwards. So, again, we're really excited about him moving forwards. And with the back row, it's always that balance of when's the right time and who are the right personnel to put alongside someone like Keane when you give him a shot. And we think we've got that balance. As you said, JB's not there. Paul Ball's had his knee injury, which rules him out for a couple of weeks. So in many ways, it's nice timing for Keane, and he gets the front up there alongside Connor Oliver, who'll bring that real dynamism and, I suppose, dog about our contact work and our energy levels. And then Abraham, we all know about in terms of the power of his carrying game. So I think it's quite an exciting back row, and it's a really good opposition for them to test themselves up against.
Looking at the bench, Dave Heffernan, Dennis Buckley, Finlay Bealham, Owen Masterson, Caelan Blade, Jack Carty. You've got 6 players on there, all of whom have more than 100 caps. Some of them, in Dennis Buckley's case, are nearly at 200. Jack Carty is over 150. There's real experience there. That's the old heads, isn't it?
It is. We actually, had a wry smile to ourselves at captain's run. When we rolled on the reserves to get their reps, and you see some of those names, coming off the bench. And it's nice to be going to a game with that level of experience and the power, to be honest, in terms of what they'll bring, particularly around that forward pack. So. It's exciting for us to be going to a game where we know, our last trip to Thomond Park, we were in the game till very much, the last few minutes, and we felt we always had a chance to win it. And that ability to finish strong, and whether that's to bring on guys to freshen up your decision making and your game management, or whether that's guys to come on and bring a fresh burst of power and keep that momentum, keep that foot on the throat, I suppose, will be really important this week. Certainly looking at that Munster lineup, they have some pretty good depth there on the bench as well. So it'll be really interesting to see how the two teams go about their work. But I'd say it's a game that will go right down to the wire.
Talking about going about their work, was there a sense on Monday when you reviewed that Leinster game that a sense of maybe of disappointment about that performance and in this rather odd competition that the Rainbow Cup is, and we still don't know how it's going to end? Connacht really need to, get back to where they were against Ulster. These peaks and troughs are a bit frustrating.
Yeah, they are frustrating. I mean, they're not without context, which doesn't make them any more bearable or any more excusable. But, they are frustrating, and it's crucial for us we get the win this week. We beat Munster, and if Leinster get the result that they'll be after against Ulster, then all of a sudden, we've all won 2 games, and it's a fairly balanced outcome from certainly the Interpro side of the Rainbow Cup. But as you said, that Leinster performance, it was unbelievably disappointing. As I said, I think there's a context to it. They're up against a pretty good team who've spent the entire week of preparation in their quarantine hotel up in Dublin, training whilst they listen to the outside world telling them that they're not physical enough. So I think, if you're ever going to meet them on a day that they were primed to deliver a performance, that was probably it. I think the frustration for us is that we obviously started the game well. For that first 15 minutes, in terms of controlling field position, but obviously then getting the reward with points. But for the game to swing so dramatically is something we had to look closely at. And it's interesting when you compare that to our last game away in Munster. I think our Leinster performance can be a little bit misleading. You can feel like we're on fire for 15, 20 minutes and then the game turned on its head. But actually that first 15, 20 minutes, we'd had a fair amount of possession. We hadn't really been tested defensively at that point. We hadn't been tested in terms of our set piece, and we hadn't been tested in terms of our kicking game and exit strategy. So compare that to when we went away to Munster. Very early on in that game at Thomond Park, we were in our 22 defending. We had to withstand some pretty physical waves of Munster attack. We turned the ball over. We had some set piece. We had some maul defence. We had a couple of exit plays. It was, every element of our game was tested on that day at Munster, and because we responded so positively, you knew that we were going to be in the fight that day, right to the final whistle. that Leinster game, probably in terms of the flow of it was a bit of a false dawn in terms of thinking, we obviously started well, but at that point, I'd say Leinster hadn't really got going. And, if anything, it added sort of more fuel to their fire. So, very disappointing. And probably the biggest lesson that came out of it was that when momentum does start to turn against you in games, as it will do against some of these better teams, you turn it back in your favour by doing the little things really well, by cleaning breakdowns, by arriving early, by getting yourself an extra half a metre in the contact. It's not by looking for a big moment, for a huge turning point that gives you the intercept and puts 7 points on the scoreboard. You've got to build it in increments. And, I think for all the technical pieces that we looked at out of that Leinster game, the most important message was that you've got to get back to the little jobs and doing the little jobs really well. And actually with that, you'll build pressure and you'll turn momentum and you get yourself back in a game. So, no better opposition and no better venue to test that out this week.